Hey everyone, thanks for joining us here at Book Blather. If you're new here, I'm Dave, and this is Olive. And we try to have a little fun while we talk about books of all types to help spread the joy of reading, and occasionally some other things. So, we recently put up a video about New York City bookstores. So, we were fortunate enough to have a visitor here, Holly Rhiannon, who is the publisher of, founder of the Stygian Society, which published this book, the Stygian Collection, which I've mentioned a few times. This is a book of dark fiction that I have a story in called The Oarsman, and she was traveling around and she visited us for almost a week, and we went and did a couple of we went of course and I took her to look at a couple of cool book places, and we had gone to see a number of bookstores in New York City, which we put the video up for, but we also I'm in Connecticut. And we also went to this place in Connecticut that I had never been to, but I had wanted to go to for a long time because I'd seen another booktuber vlog this some time ago. And this was called the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. And this place, we'll show you a little bit of it here. It was very, very unusual. and so we looked around for a little while, and then eventually I went up to the front and asked the guys, hey, where can I find the science fiction and horror? And they're like, oh, that's at the other location. And I was like, what? And so come to find out, they're actually, this book store, or whatever you want to call it, is actually made up of three different locations very close to each other in Niantic, in the town of Niantic, because they can't fit everything in one location. So this one that you just saw was actually, that was just the biggest spot. But we were then directed to I guess the second biggest spot, and that one, we'll show you that one here. As you can see, this one is all inside. And so yeah, we went like a little nuts when we were in there because there was so much, and and I don't recall seeing that much used science fiction in one spot. It was a lot. The horror, they didn't have a super big selection of horror, but the science fiction, as you can see, it was crazy. And they would have old books, but it was like some of these old popular books, they wouldn't just have one of it. They would have like 5 or 6 copies of the same book, and there was a lot of that. And so we we kind of trying to control ourselves a little bit, and so we didn't go crazy like we have at some other instances, as you've seen. But we did pick up a number of things. So the first thing was that we were very excited to see is we mentioned here on the channel a number of times before, like when we go to these things, we pick up, even if we see a part of a series that we're interested in, like we see book two in a fantasy trilogy, we'll pick it up because we go to enough of these things that we often complete, the sets as we go, and as time goes on, and so years, we've had these for years. We put together these books from Tad Williams' Otherland collection. And as you can see, there is something missing. And that has been missing for years. For a very long time, we have had volumes 1, 2, and 4. Always keeping an eye out to see if we find number 3 out in the wild. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get around to reading these. I think, because as you can see, they're kind of chunkers. But I think so because they sound really cool. These are basically, it's basically set like in this not too far distant future where virtual reality world has become a major part of life, and it's like incorporated into, all aspects of daily living. And so it sounds really cool. And we've had these 3 volumes for forever, and that hole has been there forever. We were beginning to think we would never find that missing volume out in the wild. And then sure enough, here at the Book Barn, we walked into that science fiction section, and sitting there on the shelf, all by its lonesome, Otherland, Volume 3, Mountain of Black Glass. Wonderful condition. And so now we've got all 4 volumes in great condition hardback. So found them all out in the wild. As always, didn't pay more than a couple bucks for any one. So that was a very exciting find. But then we also found a number of other things. We found, so we watch, as you know, Michael K. Vaughan's channel, and for a long time he had been doing these halls of adventure, or he had been going through some of his old science fiction, his crates of science fiction books. So a lot of times we would see Michael go through these books, and we'd see ones that looked interesting, and we'd mark them down. And so we have all these things like these old science fiction titles binned just in case we ever see them. Here, they had so many old science fiction, so much old science fiction stuff. We found a number of ones on our Michael K. Vaughan waiting list. So the first one was Level 7 by Mordecai Rochwald. And so this is about, it's fictional, it's fiction, but it's about this officer, X-127, is 4,000 feet underground. And so this is a guy, like, he's so far underground, he's safe from nuclear war, but he's in charge of the button, basically. He's in charge of, that's his assignment, is to stand guard and be ready to push the button in the event of nuclear war. So supposedly very, very harrowing science fiction novel. That's all I know about it. But yeah, that was one of the ones we saw Michael talk about, and there it was. This was another one, Caution Inflammable by Thomas N. Scorsha. Pretty wild cover. And this was just a collection of, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, of Scorsha's science fiction stories that had appeared in like different magazines, like Galaxy and I don't know what is it, Infinity 4, and different magazines. It looks like Future City, different magazine of fantasy science fiction. So they sound like a lot of very like wild science fiction stories. Like, just give you an idea. The first one is called Judas Fish. Is it true that we are what we eat? A man enjoys a rare delicacy, an unusual species of giant squid, and becomes one with their advanced communal intelligence. So they all sound like pretty like wild like that, pretty out there. So there it was. And so all of these paperback books at the Book Barn were $1 each. So that's how we roll. Here's another one that we saw from Michael K. Vaughan. All 3 of these were Michael K. Vaughan ones that we had been hoping we would find in the wild at some point. The Demon Breed by James Schmitz. Look at that cover. Looks pretty wild, right? And so again, don't know a whole lot about this, but basically that woman there is a heroine, and as you can see, that is a mutated otter back there, and so she is like, I think she is left like there's some invaders coming to a planet, and she is left to defend the planet like with these three mutant otters until she can get word like to the rest of like the Galactic Federation or whatever. So it just sounded cool. So yeah, those were the three Michael K. Vaughan specials we found. Then we found a couple other ones. Time's Last Gift by Philip Jose Farmer. Let me show you the cover. So that's the title on the cover. I assume I don't have to explain why I picked this up. I mean, it looks awesome, right? These three men and a woman are on board a time ship, and they instantly travel back. They're in 2070 AD. They instantly travel back to 12,000 BC. So they go back 14,000 years, and I mean, I love time travel stories, so it just looked really cool. All right, then we picked up this one. Who's the author of this? Oh, J. Michael Reeves. So this is I, Alien by J. Michael Reeves. And that's a wraparound. And this is an incredible man from another world stranded on Earth, searching the stars for way home. Reason we got this was because it's a illustrated novel, as you can see there on the cover. It says an illustrated novel, so you can see there's these like illustrations throughout. And I don't see stuff like this that often. I don't often. I don't know how common they are. Look at that one, the double page one. That awesome. I don't come across this sort of thing very often. Illustrated novel. So it just looked really cool. I mean, it's pretty unusual. So that's why we got it. And okay, and then this one we picked up, Way Station by Clifford D. Samac. So this we actually already have this. We've for a long time we've had this old book club hardcover edition of Way Station. But I'm going to be reading this one soon. I'm planning to read this year. I've had this a long time. I haven't read it yet. I'm planning to read it this year. It sounds cool. And I've heard it. It's come up a couple times around BookTube lately, and it's about a guy that's he's approached by an alien, and to take the job of basically having his house become a way station. You know what I mean? So he becomes like kind of immortal, I think, and as long as he stays there, and it's like a transport spot for different sentient aliens traveling around. And so anyway, so I was planning to read it, and I saw this, this old. We already have it, but I saw this old paperback version of it. Looked pretty cool, and I'm planning to read it soon. So I mean, it was $1, so I figured I'd pick it up. And so that about does it. That's what we picked up. I think that was that was everything. So Volume 3, Mountain of Black Glass by Tad Williams from the Otherland series. Level 7 by Mordecai Rochwald. Caution Inflammable by Thomas N. Scorsha. Demon Breed by James Schmitz. Time's Last Gift by Philip Jose Farmer. I, Alien by J. Michael Reeves. And Way Station by Clifford D. Samac. So that was a great adventure. In the book barn, we never did get to that third location, but we didn't have time. It was we spent so long in the first two, and it took a while to get there. And so that was a good time. So very cool place. If you're ever near Niantic, Connecticut, you get a chance to go there. But let us know, as always, if you've read any of these, or if any of them sound interesting and you want to read any of these. Or if you don't have anything substantive you want to say, again, you can always leave Olive a puppy emoji, because she always loves to see those. So thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again very soon. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves and each other, and we'll see you next time.